Hey there, so I decided I'm gonna do this video while I'm on my front porch and it's raining out. I love this part of the year when it rains. I love it. But anyhow, I'm talking about inguinal hernias for women. The reason I'm doing this video is because I found it very difficult to find information in regards to women who have inguinal hernias. I have one myself, so that's what started this whole process. Mine is a work-related injury. It happened in November of 2022, and I'm finally going to have surgery April 6th, 2023. So what happened in my case is I was lifting something heavy up a few stairs, and that's what caused my right inguinal hernia. I am going to have laparoscopic surgery. That is the common way to do these inguinal surgeries now. My surgeon is going to use mesh. So if you know anything about the inguinal canal, it kind of runs like this. You got your hernia somewhere within that range. That mesh will cover it. It will be secured by titanium screws. Now this is just information I read online. I don't know why they put screws in quotes, but they did. So, and those screws have to go through muscle layers into your pelvis region there. So that's why, I mean, it's going to be painful. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So this is information I gathered on a bunch of different websites that I went to in searching female inguinal hernia. And I hope this helps. I hope this is useful for you. I hope I gathered everything that you're wondering about in your own situation. And if I mess up talking or if I say something incorrectly, let me know, or I'm okay with it. This is my first video, you know, I don't care, it's no big deal. But I'm just doing this to try to help other women out who have inguinal hernias, to get all the information in one spot. Okay, so and this is, like I said, gathered off of different various websites. Always please check with your own doctor, okay? All right, so while in the recovery room after surgery, it is important to take maybe like 5 to 10 deep breaths every hour while you're in there. The other thing, the next little topic is, how do women get these inguinal hernias? Well, our abdominal muscles become weak for various numbers of reasons. And I just gave you mine. I was lifting something very heavy and it caused it. So some of the other reasons is during intrauterine development, just how you yourself are made. Childbirth can cause your abdominal muscles to weaken. Weightlifting, severe coughing, obesity, frequent constipation, surgeries you have that are just in that area. All of those can increase that pressure in the abdominal cavity, which causes the weakening of the abdominal muscles, okay? So what are some of the signs and symptoms of an inguinal hernia? You might not have any signs or symptoms at all, which you would just be asymptomatic. It may be found during maybe a routine exam or during an ultrasound. But some of the common ones are going to be groin discomfort, especially after long periods of sitting or walking. A bulge, you could have a bulge that would indicate it could be a hernia, and then it'll disappear when you lay down. Some of my own personal signs and symptoms that I have is, I never had a bulge, first of all. It took about a month for medical professionals to figure out, you know, what was causing my discomfort and pain. I initially did not have groin pain a whole lot. It was there, but I had more lower abdominal and right hip pain at first, and I still do, but the groin pain has become more prevalent now. And if I didn't mention it, my injury occurred November of 2022. I think I did. But anyhow, and I'm having surgery April 6, 2023. I've done already probably 3 different tries on this video, takes on this video. So anyway, let's get back on track here. See the rain? A little nice pause. All right, so my own signs and symptoms. I've been feeling a knot in my lower right abdomen sometimes, pulling, pressure, pinching, even pain, fatigued. I even will sometimes get a weird, odd sensation down my right thigh. That's usually when I've walked too much. I'll get that. And then sometimes it's not for any reason at all. I'll just feel it. And that's a new one. That's the newest sign, symptom that I have. The next thing I wanted to know when I was doing my own research online is, what do I need to have in place at home when I come home after surgery? I found that a small pillow for coughing and sneezing will be helpful to help support that abdominal area, because we're not going to want to use those abdominal muscles just yet. So we are going to need that support. Ice packs for after surgery, you're going to want to use that when you get home. You're going to want to keep them on for 10 to 20 minutes at a time. You're going to want a thin layer of some type of material to keep between the ice pack and your skin. Wash your hands before and after touching in and around that area to avoid infection. You're only going, I shouldn't just say you, it's going to be me too. We are only going to be able to do the very necessary daily functions the first 1 to 4 days after surgery. So let people help us, okay? I added this one in. I thought would be helpful. I'm going to be in a recliner, so what if I need to move myself up or move myself over? I thought that laying a sheet down on the recliner and then sitting on it would be useful to my boyfriend. He's pretty much like a husband. Useful to my significant other to help me reposition myself. So he'll be able to pull up on that sheet if I want to sit up, instead of me trying to somehow magically do it without using abdominal muscles. You don't realize how important those muscles really are until you cannot use them. Okay, so wear loose clothing. You don't want any elastic bands around that area during the recovery time. And I have these muumuus. They're pretty much old lady nightgowns that I love. I love wearing my muumuus. So I will definitely probably be wearing those. And no direct sunlight on the wound, especially once the new skin starts to grow. You don't want to burn your new skin or anything like that. Just no direct sunlight. Fiber for constipation. I did see that quite a bit during my little research of stuff. So just while you're out at Walmart sometime or wherever you shop, just pick up something and have it at home in case you need it. A pillow wedge. I also threw this on the list, a charger close by for your phone or devices to keep you busy when you're resting. I also threw in footwear with traction, because we cannot just lay around. We do need to be active, and when we're on our feet, we don't want to slip. So footwear with traction is going to be safe for us. And stay well hydrated. So the next thing that we will talk about here is things to be aware of. Our appetite may be poor for a few weeks, We may feel fatigued and tired for a few weeks as well. No lifting of 10 to 20 pounds for the 4 to 6 weeks after surgery. Complete recovery is expected at 6 weeks. Unless you are a complex case, your recovery could possibly take up to 6 months. The first bowel movement comes between 1 to 5 days after surgery. There was I think one site that talked about possible diarrhea, loose stools, but the majority that I saw was constipation. So just keep that in mind. You may develop a seroma, which is normal. All that is fluid that builds up where your hernia was. So don't think that your hernia returned, because it's more than likely just this fluid that's in that area, but your body will reabsorb that within several weeks, okay? And pain is going to likely be pretty intense the day after surgery, and the reason is because we will no longer be on those good hospital medications anymore. So the day after surgery will be pretty painful, probably, and more than likely. A couple of videos I saw, which were men, and again, which is why I'm doing this video for us women, but I have no doubt that it's going to be probably the exact same way. Both of these men talked about how the day after surgery was pretty painful. And just because you have these little incisions, do not let those little incisions fool you, because it is pretty painful, okay? I'm not trying to scare anybody, but just I want you to be aware, okay? And again, let people help you. And that kind of goes into what not to do. Do not overdo it, okay? Let people help us. So if we are up, being active, walking, or doing whatever, okay? Doing whatever that we are doing, and if it begins to hurt or makes us feel very tired and fatigued, or it just doesn't feel right, we need to stop. You need to stop. If any of those things happen, hurts, fatigued, or it doesn't feel right, need to stop. That's our body telling us, hey, you need to stop, okay? As far as activities go after surgery, showers, looks like it could happen between 24 to 48 hours. Just check with your doctor on that. Check with your doctor on any of this. Bathing after 2 weeks. Lighter activity can start within 1 to 2 weeks after surgery, and no lifting over 10 pounds. No sex for at least 2 weeks. We can return to light work 1 to 2 weeks after surgery. It just depends on how well you're healing, okay? As far as driving goes, they say we can drive if we've gone 2 days with no narcotic pain medication. So if it's been 2 days without narcotic pain medication and you've been good, then you can drive, or we can drive at that point. Now, signs and symptoms of infection that we need to be aware of after surgery and while we're at home. If we have persistent pain, like let's say we're a week out, and of course, you know, we're gonna have pain after surgery, so that's gonna be normal. But if it's like a week out and it's persistent pain, talk to your doctor, call them. What's the worst that they could say? That it's normal, you know, so call. Increasing, worsening pain. Again, you're a week out and the pain is getting worse, and it's persistently getting worse. You need to call the doctor. If you have a fever of 101.0, call the doctor. Vomiting, call the doctor. Any redness, swelling, Bleeding or blood-soaked drainage at the incision site, call the doctor. Severe and constant abdominal pain. Again, you know, you're a week out and you're dealing with very severe, or even right after, well, I don't know about right after. I'm sure right after surgery, you're gonna be in pain, especially that next day. So, but it's gotta be consistent abdominal, severe pain, okay? And of course, absence of any bowel movements in 2 to 3 days. If you haven't had a bowel movement in 2 to 3 days, it may be typical, but you need to start thinking about, you know, how we might need some help with that, okay? So that's pretty much everything. I did read on a few sites that as we rest, you know, it's good to have maybe some puzzles nearby or a book to read or movies to watch. But and everywhere that I read, though, they did say we need to be active after surgery. This isn't something that you're just going to lay around and it's just going to heal like that. It's not, okay? We need to be active. We have to try to be active. Expect to have pain. Expect to have discomfort. Got to work through it. Let people help us. And that's about it. I am going to document my own personal journey with my right inguinal hernia. Again, I'm having laparoscopic surgery on April 6th, 2023. And I am going to put that out there, since there's not a whole lot of information out there for women who have inguinal hernias. So I hope you have found this information useful and helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, feel free to like, feel free to share. And that's it. I will leave you with this beautiful rain weather that we are having. And good night.